Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on YouTube and Facebook. Not quite on 100.9 The Mate right now. As we've been telling you all week, under construction, wall right behind us. We're going to have a brand new studio starting next week. Still live on YouTube and Facebook, though. Didn't want to take the days off. You know, that would have been the easy way out. We're not about that here. It would have been the easy way out to just stay with FanDuel Sports Network, the Detroit Tigers, but instead they're going to make us pay an extra $100 to watch their games this season. Want to jump into that in just a second, but as always here on Tuesdays, Dylan Clark, voice of the Saginaw Spirit, joining us here, not in the Blazy Electric studio, but in what is the equivalent of that for this week. Dylan, how's it going today, man?
That's great, man. Good to see you. I didn't know that about the Tigers. That's tough.
Yeah, we found that out last night. It's like, hey, I know everybody here pays $150 to watch the Tigers and Wings and Pistons, but we're just gonna take that away. We're not going to be a part of FanDuel Sports Network anymore. Yeah, we'll get to that here momentarily. Dylan, what's going on with the Spirit, man? Last weekend didn't go super hot for this team.
Yeah, no, it was it was a bit of a challenging weekend. That being said, though, good to be home. First time home in 21 days. That's the longest stretch that we were away from home at any point this year, and I think for the last couple of years as well. We're back home, and you know what? It was great to see. We had over 5,200 fans, standing room only sellout on Saturday night when we played the Barrie Colts. Just would have liked to have been able to deliver a win for that game, but you know what? We're home a lot here in this month of February, and despite a loss to Sarnia, a loss to Barrie, still a lot of good individual stuff to kind of talk about. Levi Harper picks up an assist, and he becomes the leading scorer by a rookie Spirit defenseman in a single season. He beats Zane Parek's record of 37 points that he had in his rookie season. Levi gets to 38 in a couple of fewer games as well. So that was a fun moment. And again, the sellout, like I said, and Nikita Klepov, Rookie of the Month for January, finishes up a monster performance. 19 points in 12 games. He just continues to outdo himself kind of every week is what it seems like.
Well, anytime you're beating Zane Parek's record in anything, right?
Yeah.
It's usually something to brag about a little bit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about it is like, Zane's a February birthday. He actually just got called back up to the Flames, got back in the lineup for them last night, which is good to see for him. But, Levi's, he's a late birth year. He's after the September 15th cutoff, so he's an October birthday. So he's a little bit older than Zane was when he smashed the record. He's 17, turning 18. It's a little bit of a different situation, but still, you're a first-year player in this league, and you're doing, what the best defenseman probably in Spirit history did in his rookie year. So does that mean that Levi Harper is going to turn into Zane Parek 2.0? I don't know that that's fair to say right now, but it's a really, really encouraging start to see him have that kind of offensive production in his first year. So it's it's a bright future, man.
Right now, holding on to 8th place, still good enough for a playoff spot. What does this team have to do in February for them to start climbing in the standings? Obviously winning, but like beyond that, what's the key to that?
Yeah, I think for the last handful of games, the starts have been a little bit of a challenge. Like we've seen a handful of first periods where you get back into the dressing room and they're outshot 18-7 or something like that. You take a look at it and it's like, whoa, 18 shots in the first period. But you know what? Even then, sometimes that happens. They go back in the dressing room, it's 1-1. Or they're up 1-0 or something like that. Like it's just, they get a little overwhelmed, I think, on the shot board early on. Now, there's the argument to be had of, okay, you can throw 20 shots to the net from distance without any traffic. That's not dangerous. That's not really doing anything. It might look impressive on the shot board, but there's that quality versus quantity. And I know that the Spirit are a shot quality team, where they'd rather take 5 real high danger shots than just kind of throw pucks from everywhere 10 times. But I think that has happened a lot of times, and they just have those little 6 or 7 minute lapses where nobody's really hitting on the same page, and it's a couple of errors that kind of come together at the worst time. And I mean, you can say this about really any team, but we just see these little patches in games where it's 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of just not their best, and 3 pucks end up in the back of the net, and then they try to dig themselves out of it. Like they got the late goal with the extra skater on to make it a game against the Colts on Saturday night. They looked unbeatable for those last 3 minutes of the game. Like I thought, I genuinely, like, it was when it was 4-2, I was thinking, like, they're going to score a couple more and tie this game up, because they had that confidence, and they had the big dogs out there for 3 minutes on end, and they were kind of slinging the puck around like we know that they can. But I think just avoiding the 5-minute lapses, so that way when you really hit your stride in the third period, you're in a tie game, or you're up, you're protecting a lead or something like that, and you're not like, all right, well, we got to come back down from 2 goals again.
Well, that just comes with experience, right? Like, they're one of the younger teams in the OHL, so you'd think that that's going to fix itself at some point, whether that's next season or in the late stages of this season. You'd obviously hope it comes sooner rather than later, but you think it's going to come at some point.
Yeah, and that's why this is such an interesting team. This is such an interesting year for Spirit Hockey, because they have so many guys that right now it's like you just look at what they are at their age. Levi Harper at 17. Ryan Hanrahan just turned 16. Brody Popoy. Jensen Geldart's really starting to come into his own lately. Like, there's a lot of really promising young hockey players on this roster. So they're focusing on the development of those guys, and Chris Lasry's okay to throw them out there into some not dangerous situations, but like he's giving them a lot of responsibility against some really good players that it might be an overmatch, because just when you throw them out there against Cole Beaudoin from Barrie, all right, well, Jensen Geldart's 3 years younger, and he's not an NHL drafted player. Like, he's still learning the ropes. Beaudoin's played 250 games in this league, but that's how you learn. That's how you get better. You don't really have the opportunity, or you don't really have the choice to say, like, no, I'm not ready. It's like, you're into the fire, kid. Go for it. And it's been great to see those guys learn and develop. And while the focus is on development, they're still a playoff team. So as they're learning these lessons, and again, it's not going to be perfectly clean here for the last little bit of the season. I imagine there will be winning streaks and there will be losing streaks. Trying to snap a 4-game skid right now. I think they're set up pretty well to snap that against the Sioux Greyhounds tomorrow at home. But it's cool to see a team that's got a foot in both camps of developing and being a playoff team.
Yeah, it's nice to not have to, like, it's not like you're throwing in the white towel by any means for this season, but maybe like you're a year away from being back to being the title contender that you were a couple of years ago. And like the fact that you can still compete and potentially get some playoff hockey while you kind of know like you're building for the following season, that's usually a pretty good spot to be in. It is.
And that's one of the things that makes junior hockey so unique, is that the cycle's quick. Yeah. And we're in kind of the lower portion of the cycle right now, where you are, you're loading up on young players and things of that nature. Your eye is on the future, but we still get to have playoff hockey. And again, that's not an absolute guarantee, but right now that's the way it's shaping up to be for this last. We got 19 games left in this season, so it's a really fun and exciting spot to be.
So, can I pick your brain about big picture hockey things?
100%.
Olympics. They start later this week.
Yeah.
United States. There's a lot of momentum that this is maybe the best team that they've ever assembled, or one of them at least. They're going to have a chance to take that gold medal home.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been a really long time. It's funny because it's been so long. Like, it's been 12 years since they last sent NHLers to the Olympics, right? It was 2014. So there's an entire group of guys that this is going to be their first crack at it. Now, they got a little bit of a taste with the Four Nations face-off last year, and I think that we'll see. Everybody, I think, is going to expect every game of the Olympics to be like that, and it's not going to be. There are going to be some matchups in the in the round robin or whatever that are just going to be, kind of lukewarm. But, we will get to those, we will get to those kind of premier matchups. I don't know. I mean, it's so tough to say. Like, obviously, the biggest favorite is Canada with the roster that they're bringing. You can't sleep on the Swedes, man. Like, they've got a lot of talent.
Those are your top 3 teams in terms of odds.
I think so, yeah. And again, I haven't poured over those rosters, but just when you think about some of the names, now I know that Sweden's got some injuries, but just some of the names that kind of come to mind first. I think this has to be the best chance that the U.S. has had in a long time. I mean, like, since 2010, like, they were that close in the gold medal game against Canada. I selfishly, I hope that's, we get to see a situation like that again. We'll get to see some new heroes, I think. It's been I think a little bit more of a changing of the guard on the U.S. side when you look at who's in now versus who was in then. Like, there's no more Zach Parise. It's not Joe Pavelski anymore. It's a much younger.
Dylan Larkin.
There's still, I know. There's Dylan Larkin. There's, the Kachucks are going to be in there mixing things up. I'm excited to see what exactly their goaltending situation looks like. I think they're taking Hellebuck and Ottinger, and I'm blanking on the third goalie, but it'll be interesting to see who kind of takes the reins there. I think this has got to be their best chance to do it. I'm not proud to say this. I don't know if they can, just because you look at that Canadian roster. There's a lot of it's the best hockey in the world, right?
Yeah, it's always the way it's going to be. They'll always be underdogs.
I'm excited to see it, though. The U.S., when it comes to hockey, they love an underdog story, right? So
you got a couple fun promotions coming up this weekend. You want to give some plugs for that?
Yeah. So we're home against the Sioux Greyhounds tomorrow. Friday, we got the Erie Otters. It'll be our Covenant Cancer Care Night, so we'll have the folks at Covenant out there with us hanging out for that game. And then Saturday's the Shocks and Saves game with the Pulse 3 endowment, CMU College of Medicine. For those that don't know, Yuri Fisher, when he had his cardiac arrest on the ice with the Red Wings back in 2005, he wanted to turn a tough situation into a positive. So he got with Dr. Peter Fatal. They started the Shocks and Saves charity game. Through the funds raised from that, they've put over 40 AEDs out in the community here in the area.
Nice.
And they've saved over 20 lives. They had the track. I don't believe they have the tracking data on them anymore, but they did for the first handful of years, so they can see when they're being deployed. So they had saved over 20 lives just from the AEDs that were put into place from this game. So the Shocks and Saves charity game will be at the Dow at 3:50.
Are you playing in it?
No, you know what? This is my first year that I'm not.
You got to get in the net.
I'm at a point now where if I get too many pucks off the head, I can't think straight anymore. So I've decided it's better for my long-term health and my career. If I'm serious, like there have been times where you can feel it, man.
Oh yeah,
you can feel it. I had too many concussions in my career, so
at least you have the wherewithal to recognize it.
Yeah, well, it took me.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
It's an incredibly tough pill to swallow. It's the dumbest thing in the world, but there's nothing like getting hit with a hockey puck. I don't know why. It's the greatest. I wish everybody could experience the feeling of like a great glove save or something like that. But anyway, there will be others. Tons of Red Wings alums. I'm trying to think. Obviously, Yuri Fisher is going to be playing. Justin Ablocator is going to be playing. They'll have Kirk Maltby is going to be in there playing for the Shocks and Saves team. I think Darian Hatcher's coming back. So there's going to be, and of course Darren McCarty. How could I forget that Darren McCarty's going to be there? So we'll have tons of Wings alums. It'll be a lot of fun. I will be watching wistfully from the stands, wishing that I was getting some of the action down there. But no, it'll be a great game for a great cause. And then we'll play the London Knights at 7 o'clock.
Where can people get tickets?
SaginawSpirit.com.
There you go. Dylan Clark, voice of the Saginaw Spirit, joining us every Tuesday here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Want to talk about this Detroit Tigers decision that they made? It's really not even a decision they made, more of a decision they were forced to make. Bottom line, you got to pay more money to watch the Tigers than you already did. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on YouTube, live here on Facebook. As always, 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by our friends over at Iron Stack Technology. Quick shout out to Iron Stack Technology. You know, we talk about the game plan all the time on this show, the execution of it. That's exactly how Iron Stack approaches IT. They help businesses stay secure, stay efficient, and ready for what's next so you can focus on your mission instead of your technology. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. You can check them out at ironstacktechnology.com. All right, so here's the deal. Tigers are no longer going to be on FanDuel Sports Network. This isn't like breaking news. We found this out, a couple of weeks ago, John? But yesterday it was basically confirmed, the Tigers are not going to be doing their renegotiations with FanDuel Sports Network, and they're just going to be going straight to MLB Media, so the MLB will actually be producing the Tigers games this year. Look, I know you're into all the logistics of it, parent companies, the bankruptcy, why it's failing, and I want to let you get into that. But like me, I'm thinking about this from a consumer standpoint. I want to watch as many Pistons games as I can. I want to watch the Wings when it's convenient. I want to watch upwards of 150 Tigers games a season. I get it. I'm the 1%. I'm the freak who doesn't want to miss a single game. It's why I have this job. I love it. I might have to pay $250 in total to watch all my teams play. Like right now, it's $150 for the year for FanDuel Sports Network, which, again, if you already pay for cable, it's like, what? This is insane that I have to pay an extra $150. And when I say cable, I mean YouTube TV as well. I'm including in that. Hulu Live, I'm including in that. That's what I have. So like live TV, you pay for live TV, but nowhere has the option of the FanDuel Sports Network as well. So you got to pay for that separately. Now the Tigers are deferring to a different method of distributing their games, and you have to pay for that separately too. I'm just talking strictly from a consumer. This is like, I mean, I'm not the first person to say this, but it's becoming extremely frustrating that, the Pistons games, most of them are on FanDuel Sports Network. This Friday against the Knicks, they're on Amazon Prime. Tuesdays and Mondays, they're on NBC and or Peacock. All these games are on so many different places. Even when the Tigers roll around, it's freaking Fubo TV or Roku TV or whatever it is. We got the Apple games. Now we got Sunday Night Baseball on NBC as well. ESPN still has some games. Fox will have some games. There's nowhere like one place to watch all the Detroit sports. And now it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, the Tigers are over here, the Pistons and Wings are over here, all of their live TVs over here, but sometimes these teams' games are going to be over there. It's becoming near impossible for a consumer. I don't know how someone like my mother would ever figure this out. God bless her, but like it's not easy because it's all in different places. And this is almost like the last straw. Like, okay, it's one thing to have all my sports teams separate from the live TV. Now to have my sports teams in different places, when does it ever stop? It feels like it's never been further apart. And that's where I step in and I'm like, we might have to talk about this on the show because it's becoming incredibly frustrating and incredibly expensive.
Yeah, I mean, consumer care is never at the priority for these networks. Turn myself down a little bit, but yeah, we jump through hoops, and we're going to continue jumping through hoops for the rest of our lives with this. I mean, there's no, sorry to put it point blank, we do it with the NFL, whatever network, they design us to be on, that's where we're going to go, right? ESPN Plus, Amazon, NBC. You're going to do the same thing for baseball, for hockey, for basketball. What's tough about this is that at least the game of baseball, and I say this as a positive, and this is how it's classified, it's a regional sport.
Yeah.
So a tenet of being a regional sport and how baseball has value in this country and in communities is being on a regional sports network. That's been point blank what it's been forever, and is the model. The fun part of this, because this is where I'll first go, regardless of where the sport goes and what teams are relocated, this and that, wherever a team is, they have to have a presence in local media, especially with baseball. The other sports, because it's a less of a season, and the NFL is only 17 games, they could exist only being on national TV, and the NFL does. But baseball has to be consumed by local media, and local media has to have a fixture in it for it to be successful.
Because no one's going to sit down and watch every game every night. Like there's
no, but it's got to be there.
Watching 162 baseball games, it's going to be from the same team. It's not going to be spread around, right?
It's got to be there from the perspective that like it's got to be available. So knowing that, the Tigers as an organization, once the deal that came through and how this all started Disney acquiring Fox, and then these entities do the courts saying that they have to be stripped away from Disney and going to the largest bidder because Disney doesn't want to, or the government didn't want Disney to have a monopoly on media.
It would have worked out for the consumer if Disney just kept it.
Of course it would have, but you still would have paid. But at least it's behind the backing of a company that's not going under anytime soon. It was open to the.
Sure? Are we sure Disney's not going down?
No, it was open to the largest bidder, and then that bidder failed, and the next bidder failed, and it's just been this, just this stream of crap basically. But when that first broke, smart orgs said, you know what, we're going to probably have to invest in our local TV, so at least we're not at the beck and call of whoever decides to take the media rights of this now no longer Fox Sports Detroit at the time. And the Tigers never grasped it, right?
Shocking.
There's 6 to 8 teams in the recent restructuring that opted out because Main Street Sports Group was filing for bankruptcy. One of those teams, the Braves, obviously like a big-time franchise in baseball, a lot of history, they decided, we're done with this. We're going to have our own network. So the Braves are making an investment and having their own TV network. And if you think that's a conflict of interest, no, it's how it exists in baseball. Teams have either the majority ownership stake or a minority ownership stake in the channel that they're on. It exists in New York. SNY, partly owned by the Mets. Yes Network is called the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network and is partly owned by the Yankees. Now it's more owned by Amazon than anything else. And the give and take of why that's okay, all right, sure, you want to say it's a propaganda network when watching, is you have people in newspapers and guys like us and girls like us on talk radio that says, all right, if this announcer is being a homer or this production is too sunshine and rainbows, we're going to attack it. And that's the give and take of local media and local media consumption, so you're not just getting, sports propaganda, but the teams obviously have an ownership in the network, and you're not going to have a broadcaster on that network be like, oh, the Tigers suck, this and that. So it's a mismanagement from that, and the court shouldn't have allowed it to go to the highest bidder. No offense, actually, to Sinclair Broadcasting Group. They didn't know how to manage it. And then from there, it goes to these sports groups that have no moral background, or a backbone, because it went from Bally to FanDuel. Local media networks shouldn't be named after gambling companies, right? Like, that shouldn't be a thing, but it had to be because, okay, how these sports groups that are buying, the rights to these teams, how are they going to make a profit? You sell the network name to a company. And they're selling these company names to sports books. Like, this isn't FanDuel dropping the ball. This is Main Street Sports Group. Whatever that is why we're in this situation right now. But with the same fact, if the Tigers wanted to pony up money, and any of these orgs, there's the Cardinals, there's a lot of other teams that are having to deal with this right now. They could have saved it, but they chose not to. And now baseball, because they're the league that obviously oversees all the teams, right? They have to step in and produce it themselves now, which isn't new. The Guardians do it, the Padres do it, but it's going to be baseball who's now calling the shots.
989-837-6125. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time, whether you have a leaky roof, storm damage, the siding looking a little tired. Bresky always has you covered, locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come. Welcome back in, everybody. John Vicari's filling in for Kyle Sandel again today. John, it's your time to shine. Take it away with the mid-morning catch. Holding.
All right, now we're good.
Okay.
All right,
See,
let's do it.
I don't have
Mid-morning catch.
the headphones. I'm just
I know,
banking
I know.
on you to be
no,
able to.
this is the problem. Listen, I'll be honest, folks. I can't hear the sounders, so I'm trying my best, but it's not great. Anyway, let's do the
New
mid-morning
studio,
catch.
less than a week away, John.
It's gonna be so great because it looks already so beautiful. I wish we could show everybody, and maybe we should on social media, like the building stages, or are we waiting till the grand announcement?
I took a picture of it when it first started, and then I was gonna take a picture of it every day, but I think I forgot the last couple. But I want to share some pictures soon.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
I think that'd be fun. Let's start with NFL news that broke this morning. The ongoing saga of the NFL Hall of Fame, that the class will be announced on Thursday, part of NFL Honors, the NFL Awards, whatever they call it now. But we know Bill Belichick won't be a part of that class. We also know that Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, will not be a part of that class. So it's pretty unique because the voting requirements in 2025, because it's not it's not that it's a separate wing, but it's a separate voting system for coaches, owners, and then kind of like I don't know the official title, not like a veterans committee like it is in baseball, but players who like are off the ballot of the original one, but are now on this like other one that's determined by a 50-person committee that's made up of owners and GMs and stuff like that. So they're going against each other in the contributor category, coaches and senior players and owners, and they both didn't get in. So they both went up against each other basically and didn't go in. Kraft obviously had the statement with Belichick, because I originally thought maybe it's Kraft who voted against Belichick because he doesn't want him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I was under the assumption that Kraft was already in this thing. He's not. So he fell short of the 40 votes as well, and it's expected to be in terms of that class, senior players is what they call in the name, some players that fell off the ballot that are now on the ballot, and what was it? In terms of the coach and owner category, it won't be Belichick and it won't be Robert Kraft.
Looking back, like hindsight, isn't it almost a miracle that they won 6 Super Bowls together between Kraft and Brady and Belichick? Because it feels like the second this thing ended, really even before it ended, like these 3 guys were pinned against each other, all of them wanting the credit for it. And the fact that they were able to work together for, 18 years and have so much success, it's almost like unbelievable that, anybody were to win 6 Super Bowls. But when you consider, like, I don't know when that all started going into place and the egos, like, but at some point they clearly clashed and they won despite of it. So, look, I think these guys should both be in the Hall of Fame at the end of the day. 6 Super Bowls. 6 Super Bowls. Does there really need to be more up for debate? Probably not.
No. And again, if this is the punishment because Kraft, did some things in his personal life and got caught and got busted and Deflategate, whatever, okay, that's the punishment you want to serve. It just comes off as sour grapes because, again, nothing was stripped from the league. Goodell didn't take a title away from the Patriots. There weren't any consequences when it came down. And if that consequence, I guess, is, not first ballot, then whatever. But they're both going to be in eventually, if not next year, the year after. But won't be first ballot Hall of Famers, neither Kraft or Belichick. I'll say Kraft's a little more surprising, too, because you talk about important owners in the history of the NFL. Kraft is up there in terms of how the league has been shaped over, the last 2 decades, going beyond that, too. Because the Patriots, before we were born, basically, like, we've only known them as this successful entity, a dynasty, a team that right now is going, is in the Super Bowl and kind of reinvented themselves. They were the 4th team in Boston. They don't even play in Boston. They play, in Foxborough. They were an afterthought in terms of in the New England community because they were never great. They were never good. And now they're one of the pillars of the NFL. So it's something else, but neither Kraft or Belichick is in. I know news that will, move your needle. The LA Clippers and guard James Harden are working through whether the sides can find a deal by Thursday's NBA trade deadline. Shams Charania of ESPN first reporting there. And is it reporting? Sure. You know, guys, like you said off air, he's been telling us Giannis is going to get traded for a year and a half.
Can I take over and explain the Shams thing?
Please. I don't know any of it, so.
So Adrian Wojnarowski was on this beat for the longest time, right? And there was the coined phrase, the Woj bomb. Like, if he were to drop a tweet, whether it's free agency time, whether it's a trade deadline thing, like, it was important. And Shams, just like Jordan Schultz in the NFL, has taken this and ran with it in a direction I don't love. Because for a year and a half, we have been getting Giannis is about to be traded tweets that have actually resulted in nothing. Even the latest one where it's like, oh, now he's definitely going to be traded. And maybe he does. Like, I hope so. But again, Giannis is still not requested a trade, according to Shams. He's ready to move on. He's been ready to move on and open to the idea of going on to a new team for a year and a half. This is becoming extremely frustrating. It feels like Shams is putting out these tweets that like are basically nothing burgers, nothing updates on all these guys. He forever wins brownie points for the Luka Doncic trade on being on that, and like literally no one found out about that until he put that tweet out. But man, there's just too many nothing updates with this guy's Twitter. But unfortunately, no one else is on the beat, so you kind of have to keep the notifications on if you're a hoops head.
Yeah, I mean, well, you talk about monopoly, right? We were talking about that in the previous segment about monopoly in sports, in sports media. ESPN's got it in terms of the insider game. You have to deal with Adam Schefter retweeting everything that Michigan does as a university. You have to deal with, Shams basically tweeting nothing burgers. And the only good one is Jeff Passan. I love you, Jeff Passan.
I like Rappaport. I do like Rappaport.
Well, I'm just talking about ESPN specifically.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, but that's fine, too. I don't have a problem with Rappaport. I don't really have a problem with Schefter. He's just cringe sometimes. And then Shams, I don't know well enough. Anyway, that in terms of NBA news, and of course the Pistons and Nuggets in action tonight. LCA 7 p.m. tip, and 2 games remain for the Pistons before the deadline. We'll get into that as the show progresses, but they're in action tonight. Action last night, Detroit Red Wings, they took care of Colorado. They needed a win, man. Snap a 3-game skid for them. They were embarrassed by Colorado at LCA on Saturday afternoon, 5-0 defeat. They returned the favor. Not as dominant, but a 2-0 shutout win, a dominant effort on the defensive end. John Gibson's 4th shutout of the year. Lucas Raymond, Marco Casper each had a goal. Dylan Larkin, American Olympian, he had an assist on each goal for the Red Wings. So good for them. They have one more game before the Olympic break. The Red Wings are only going to play 4 games in the month of February because Olympics are going to start on Friday, which is going to be a lot of fun.
So does that mean the playoffs are starting later this season and will end later as well because of this Olympic break?
I'd have to double-check that.
It'd be hard to imagine they're playing on time if they're taking 3 weeks off or 2 weeks off or whatever
Correct.
it is. Which I always think the Olympics are like this month-long event. They're really not.
No.
It's all kind of scrunched together. And maybe that's my basketball brain thinking because even before the Olympics start, there's all those exhibition games. Mm-hmm. It's really just like a 2-week thing.
College football playoffs longer, Ben.
Well, the college football playoffs is like 3 months and 2 seasons long.
Yeah, like the difference, we're just so accustomed to our playoffs being drawn out week over week. The Olympics plays its stuff Tuesdays at 3 a.m. There's gold medals being won when we're asleep because you got to get a lot of sports in a short time frame because you have, in terms of cost, whatever, you can't, span this out over 3 months. It's all mushed together, which is a lot of fun because you're getting action right away. Like you're getting medals day one and then, the final day. You're not waiting around for is this important. You could find a sport where it's the game, the match right away, which is why I love it.
Hockey aside, what's your favorite Winter Olympic sport to watch?
Oh, we've talked about this. I mean, I love and I have fond memories of speed skating with Apollo Ono. Just a race on skates is just so much fun. The art of figure skating I like, and I like the broadcast of it. I enjoy the broadcast of it too. Johnny Weir, Terry Gannon. I forget the woman's name, but she's good too because they'll be harsh. They'll be honest. Like Gannon will set it up, be like, oh, they're doing a couple spins, and then they'll just be like,
yeah, that's what he says. Spins.
That's what it is. That's what he says. He sets it up, and then they're just like, oh, that was the toe should have been straight, or the arm should have been extended. Like they are just brutal. So that's fun. And then I like curling a lot.
That's the one I was
Yeah.
gonna say. It's like it's a little slower, but it's a game to just kind of have on in the background
Yes.
as you're doing work or something.
Yes.
And the way that they like the shuffle people, I don't know what they're called, but I like when they do that. The way that they can get it to like kind of curve around and just land perfectly on the target. I think it's just I don't know. There's something about it where if you could get a couple drinks in you and start throwing some $1 bills down, could make for a fun weekend night.
Really? All
Fun
right.
weekday night, honestly.
I was it. Since your knowledge is obviously so great, I think you should get someone on from the Midland Curling Center to teach us what a shuffler is. I think we should on the especially Olympic week, like maybe before the gold medal, get some insight on it. I don't know.
It's not a bad idea.
I'm booking your show for it.
I don't really want. I don't care for tossing them. I just want to be the person that's. I do that when I have a Swiffer sweeper wet jet, not to do a free ad or anything, but one of those. You know what I'm talking about, like an equivalent of a mop. And I'll be going around my kitchen doing this, trying to get it to go in certain like just for fun. So now I feel like it's my time to shine. I've been practicing for the Winter Olympics. So
maybe you should go down to the curling center and actually give this a try since you've been practicing in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's the move.
I think we get some content. We film you.
One of those.
Olympic sports preview.
There we go. All right,
Yeah.
You got anything else in this rendition of the catch?
No, because we got another one coming up, so I'll save some stuff.
All right, this is the
Tour.
Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt, YouTube, and Facebook, of course, as well. Hey, if you are driving around town right now and you're like, gosh, this car that I'm driving is just, it's white, it's gray, it's got all the gross snow on it, salt, and you're like, okay, I know it might get like this again in a couple days, but I can't stand driving a car like this. It looks terrible. I know the perfect spot for you. That's Tommy's Express Car Wash. Give your car the glow up it deserves with Tommy's Express Car Wash. Fast, friendly, and freakishly good at cleaning. There's nothing that pisses me off more than going to the car and there's all that gray, brown snow underneath where, like, you're supposed to step your feet up. That stuff's gross. What would knock that off instantly? A car wash. It's going to make your car drive a little bit faster? A car wash. You know who has the best car wash in town? That's Tommy's Express Car Wash. Sign up for their unlimited club and wash as often as you want because clean cars just drive a little bit better. No appointments, no nonsense, just quick, clean, and kind of addictive. Tommy's Express Car Wash because your car called and it's begging for this. Locations in Midland, Saginaw, and Flint. We are now, what would that be, 4 days? I always get confused with the morning, how many days removed we are, because it's like a half day because the games happen at night, but we do a morning show. So Saturday night, well, Friday to Saturday, it would be one day. Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday. So 3.5 days since Michigan and Michigan State have played. It feels like way longer than 3.5 days, but nonetheless, yesterday. No, let's start here. Did you think at all that this game was dirty in any way? That there was any dirty plays in this game? Cheap shots, aggressiveness. Did you ever once have that thought cross your mind while you were watching this game?
Yeah, the one I think it was Cooper in the first half when he shoved, I forget who, out of frustration, because Raftery he basically talked him into break. He was like, "Oh, he's gotta be careful," yeah. "Oh, you gotta be careful, big game." So I forget who, but Cooper, I think, out of frustration, I forget who it was, but it was in the first half, gave a shove after the whistle. But that's, the nature of the rivalry. I think the officials in that instance did a good job not assigning a tech. Because there was a foul, the first foul of the game. I was like, whoa, we got to let these boys bump a bit. This is Michigan State. And I think the officials did find the rhythm. I know Michigan State fans and their coach, Tom Izzo, maybe not happy with, at times, how that game was officiated.
I think that's maybe the most BS we've had since the end of the game, Izzo complaining about the officials. That's not why you lost. I'm really all good on him complaining about the officials. But I bring it up because I didn't think it was necessarily dirty. It was physical. There were some plays that were maybe borderline, like the Jeremy Fears. He winds up and comes down on Yaxel in the first half. You know what play I'm talking about, where it's in transition. Yaxel's about to have an open, and Fears does do the wind-up thing. I didn't think it was necessarily dirty, though. It was just a hard foul. Borderline dirty, but I would consider that just a hard foul. And then a couple other plays come to mind, like the Will Cheddar foul that he drew that just should have been an offensive foul when he jumped sideways into the guy from three. Again, I don't think that's dirty, but it's just not like good ethics, good fundamental hoops. And then, Fears is doing that stuff all the time. He got Yaxel on it a couple times, and once in transition where he just stops and then gets ran into. I don't think any of these plays were necessarily dirty. But there were definitely some antics going on, some extracurriculars. But I think that's just part of the rivalry. Dusty May sits down at the podium yesterday and starts saying, yeah, Michigan State had some dirty plays. I'd like to look at that. Tom Izzo responds, says, I don't care what Dusty May thinks. We've got some tape on them, too. There's 40 minutes of it. If you think there was dirty plays, come talk to me. We saw what Will Cheddar did. He didn't name drop him, but he's talking about the Will Cheddar play where he jumped sideways into a guy when he's taking a jump shot. You know, all my mind can think about when we hear both of these coaches kind of take some subtle shots at each other in these press conferences is, can't wait for the next game, baby. Can't wait for the next game. I'm all for the hatred towards each other. I've made that stance pretty clear. But I think both coaches, just out of frustration with the other team, are just saying kind of BS right now. Like, come on, man. It wasn't a dirty game. It was a physical game. There's a difference.
Yeah, they're trying to defend their guys, from the perspective of Izzo and May, and they get heated with how things are officiated, even in a win or a loss, but they're just trying to defend their guys. You talk about the Fears play, because I think he did it twice, maybe 3 times.
The Brunson.
The Jalen Brunson, the Melanie Colonitis. I love that, okay? That is...
You're the worst.
I love that worst. So because in transition, you have to keep your vision up, because... Guess what? You get into a thing in basketball where, you got to keep your lane. This isn't horse racing. If a guard decides to just cut over while you're trying to get back on defense, you're in their way. You're the worst. I love that. When he did that, I got so excited. It shows you look at what
Jalen Brunson has corrupted your mind with. That's how basketball's supposed to be played. You're supposed to stop dead in your tracks and let guys bump into you to draw fouls.
Maybe not stepping dead in the tracks, but a lane switch, basically. When you don't expect it, is hilarious because it doesn't like when Fears does it. It doesn't help him get down the court faster. You could argue maybe if he's trying to pass it to the far side, it is, but. I love that stuff.
Anytime I see someone do one of these where they stop their dribble and then kind of look over their shoulder, come on, man. That's
awesome.
I don't know how we fix that either because it's not like you can call that an offensive foul. The NBA made some rule where you can't like lunge into someone on offense, but it hasn't really fixed that because when you it's like the no fault rule in Michigan. If you run into someone's bumper, if you're the person in the back, it's your fault no matter what, even if the person in front of you slams on their brakes and is trying to get some insurance bill. Doesn't matter. You were too close to them then.
That's why you get a dash cam, folks. We got to get a sponsor with a dash cam. But
I don't think it matters in this state. I'm
Does
speaking
it
way
not?
out of my expertise. I'm pretty sure it's a no, like, sorry, man, if you hit my bumper, that's your fault.
Man.
Yeah, this ain't New York, John. You got to be careful of these things. You got to give a car their space. Yeah, I didn't necessarily think it was a dirty game by any stretch of the imagination, but tempers grew. You could feel it. You could feel the frustration. And I thought there were some plays on both ends that were a little like, just like if we're doing an ethics, a basketball ethics conversation, not the best ethics. Like the Will Cheddar play specifically, I thought was total bogus. The fact that Michigan shot 3 free throws on that game. Look, Tom Izzo, you have no right to complain about your team got spanked. But, yeah, Will Cheddar jumping sideways into a guy and getting 3 free throws for it I thought was ridiculous. But, like, then again, Jeremy Fears, I mean, it wasn't a poke down. It wasn't to try to swipe the ball away. That was a wind-up that could have been a flagrant foul. It didn't end up being called one, but they reviewed it for one. So, like, I don't know, man. There were some plays on both ends that I thought were not dirty, but, like, a little hard fouls, to say the least. But I didn't care for either coach. How about that? I didn't care for either coach yesterday jumping in and started saying the other team's dirty. I'm all for the hatred and the rivalry. Let's keep that on the floor, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with throwing shots at each other at the podium, but, like,
dude,
let's call the other team dirty. It's just
where
not
it
true.
builds, though. Like the problem with it, and why, again, talking about media in this first hour of the Ben Bosscher show today, media fuels the rivalry. Fans of Flames.
That's true.
In the history of Michigan State, right? Where does Michigan's, I forget the running back's name, but called him Little Brother. That was in a press
Blake
conference,
Corum.
right? No, not Corum. The guy before him.
Oh. That was Loveland, wasn't it? It was Colson Loveland.
I'm talking way back. I'm trying to Mike something.
Yeah.
But
I thought you recently.
No. But like that's where it's built. The media, the clippings, we don't do this anymore. But the newspaper clippings in the locker room about that. Hey, this preseason poll said that you were going to be below your rival and you were going to finish last in conference.
Now it's screenshots. Now show them the tweet.
There you
show
go.
Them the X.
But that's what fuels it, and I'm sure May's comments were heard in Michigan State's locker room and vice versa with Izzo and Michigan's locker room, and that builds it. If you're not going to have the players going back and forth, it's the coaches. And again, the coaches are just coming from the perspective of I'm trying to defend my players because they don't want them hurt. Their investments. Mike Hart was the running back name I was looking for. Thank you in the YouTube chat.
Dusty does feel like he's walking around with his chest puffed out a little bit.
Should.
I think he understands, like, Michigan State can give an A-plus game and they still might not be able to beat Michigan as long as they play, like, a B-plus game. And I think for that reason, he's feeling himself a little bit and able to puff his chest out a little bit, knowing that he just kind of has the best team in the Big Ten for now. I know they haven't played Illinois or Purdue, but Purdue theoretically should be good, but they keep losing. So I think Michigan's just anointed as the best team in the Big Ten for the time being. They're the favorites to win it. They're in first place, highest-ranked team. What do we think? Is this finally the year that the Big Ten gets over the hump? Michigan could be the team to finally do it. Last team to do it, the Michigan State Spartans. 989, oops, didn't mean to hit the mic. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on YouTube, live on Facebook, as our studio is being renovated behind us. We'll share some pictures of that a little bit later on, which is a perfect chance to plug our socials, 100.9 The Mitt on Facebook, Instagram, the Ben Bosscher Show on TikTok. Can give it all a follow. And, of course, YouTube, if you're not liked and subscribed already. What are you doing? Hey, we talk about having the home field advantage a lot. We thought Michigan State had the home court advantage on Friday against Michigan. They didn't. It didn't matter at all. Michigan shut down the zone, which is a hard thing to do. Well, if your home or business uses propane, the company you want with the advantage is Forward Energy. Since 1925, they've been serving our local communities with propane and fuel solutions for home and businesses. Local people, reliable service. That is Forward Energy. They are a part of the home team, and this is the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. All right, we're 2 minutes late coming back. That's okay. That's okay. Because we're live on YouTube. We can come back whenever we want. John, the Pistons are I put it down in the notes as 2 games away from the deadline. They have 2 more games until the trade deadline. I think it's actually 1 technically because I believe the deadline's Thursday at 5 or 6 p.m. By the way, Dylan Clark comes on the show every single week and somehow hits like 3 6-7s throughout the segment. Have you noticed that? I think he's doing it on purpose now, by the way.
I have. It's good for him. He knows what plays.
I stopped acknowledging it this week because I'm like, maybe that's, I don't know.
It'll be dead
I'm just
eventually.
messing with the guy.
It'll be dead eventually. I think what's going to happen, I think a Super Bowl commercial this Sunday is going to kill it. There's just going to be some cringe Super Bowl commercial, and we're all going to be like, let's move on as a country. But
I think we've already kind of started
agreeing as a country is kind of hard to come by, so probably not.
Anyway, I believe it's actually like 1 game. With this last game today against the Denver Nuggets, against Nikola Jokic, is the last game before the Pistons trade deadline. I told you yesterday, I think the top guy that I want is still Michael Porter Jr. It's not only the best player that could potentially be moved at the deadline, depending on what happens with this Giannis situation. It's also just the perfect fit for the Detroit Pistons, an upgrade over that Tobias Harris spot. Tobias Harris, God bless him, filled his role perfectly last year, played good defense against Karl Anthony Towns in the playoffs. He does not get to the free throw line. He takes low percentage shots that he makes, but low percentage shots nonetheless. He doesn't really move the ball. It's not like he's dishing out assists or a great rebounder. He's an okay defender. He averages 13 points per game. The Pistons need a total upgrade over that spot. Michael Porter Jr. comes in, instant upgrade, better rebounder, probably equivalent passer. It's not like either of those guys are filling up the box score with assists. But you know what he does bring? You cannot leave him open. It's one thing to be Jaden Ivey's a shooter. Shoots 37% from the field. You can leave him open because guess what? He's only going to make about 1 a game. Michael Porter Jr. is a guy where it's like, no, man. Like you can't give this guy an inch of room. If he even gets a shot off, whether he's fading, whether you're in his grill, if he even gets a shot off, it is a loss for the defense because of how efficient of a shooter he's become from the outside. If he's hitting over 40% of his shots and taking 9 shots from downtown a game, yeah, he's going to be an effective player for any sort of championship caliber team. People get worried about the defense. Oh, he doesn't play defense. Okay, he's not any worse of a defender as Tobias Harris. So that to me is like ideal situation. Number 1, the Pistons get aggressive, trade 2 firsts, Tobias Harris, and definitely Jaden Ivey would have to be in that as well. That to me is like my top guy. It's the number 1 thing I want the Pistons to do here at the deadline. Will they actually be aggressive? It's really hard to tell right now. It really is, because on one hand, it's like, why go all in this season? Cade's only 24 years old. The Thunder didn't go all in and get Caruso and start making aggressive trades until the offseason in which Shea was 25, 26 years old. So you've got the time to wait. On the other hand, look at the Eastern Conference. It's completely wide open. You have one glaring issue. Why not go address it with the perfect player that's available? I think the ultimate reason we don't really know exactly what's going to happen if we're doing a prediction standpoint is Trajan Langdon just doesn't really give us a whole lot. Trajan Langdon sits in front of the microphone and talks for 30 minutes but doesn't say anything of substance the rare times he does do a press conference. So I don't know what the tendencies are going to be from Trajan Langdon at this year's deadline. I can tell you what I want, and that is Michael Porter Jr. And if you're not going to go as high as that, a player like Malik Monk or a player like Kobe White or a player even like Klay Thompson who could come in and help stretch the floor a little bit, even though kind of like Duncan Robinson becomes a little bit of a black hole on defense in the playoffs. They got to do something. They can't just sit around and do nothing. And that's where I'm at with the deadline. Basically 1 game away and 2 days away here in the NBA. One of the most exciting weeks of the year in the NBA calendar. It always gets exciting, and it feels like this year we might actually get some big-time trades if Giannis does end up being moved. Same with Michael Porter Jr. Who knows? It's just a matter of which team he's going to.
Same for James Harden, too.
James Harden, another future Hall of Famer who could be on the move this offseason or this week, which that came out of nowhere last night. I didn't even know the Clippers were entertaining that, but sounds like he might be going to Cleveland. So
if he goes to Cleveland, they're above Detroit?
No, they don't have the body of work that the Pistons have for what they've achieved this year. It feels like they've been underachieving all season. But I
Yes.
will say, like, Cleveland, if they're the 8 seed, I don't love that for Detroit. That's a team with a lot of offense, especially if they get Harden. It's a team with a lot of offense who could go toe-to-toe with the buckets. They've got, not that James Harden's a proven playoff guy, but Donovan Mitchell certainly is. He rises to the occasion every single year in the playoffs. So it's not a matchup I love in the first round. I think that could be a potential disaster situation if the Pistons don't address their glaring issue that they have this week.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I was like you said, like you stated, you've thrown out the hypothetical trades, but the only place I get trade conversation or trade rumor with the Pistons is in our office with you, with Kyle Sandel, with Brad Tunney. I don't hear it from the GM. I don't hear it from anyone related with the Pistons. I don't hear it from any national reporter either.
Well, can I tell you this then?
Please.
The Knicks scare me a little bit.
Yeah,
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They've got the offense. When Brunson and Cat are on, they look like one of the best offenses in basketball.
And then with Giannis, I mean, oh my goodness.
I don't think they're getting Giannis.
Oh.
But they've just got the different guys to be able to throw at Cade Cunningham. That was, I thought, the biggest difference maker last year in the playoffs. Cade was guarded by, 4 different guys by the time it was done, between Hart and McHale and OG Anunoby, and then Cat would double team him as well, and that's just a ton of length. They got a lot of guys to throw at Cade and nobody to throw the ball to for Cade Cunningham to start initiating an offense other than Asar Thompson, who's definitely a better player than he was last year.
Yeah.
Same with Duran, but not someone to start it from the wing or just shoot the 3 ball. Like, they've got the Duncan Robinson who can do the 3. They've got the Asar who can drive it into the paint and kind of create a situation that probably should favor them in a 4-on-3. They don't have a guy who can do both of those. And it feels like without one of those, it's just like there is a ceiling that the Pistons have at some point that they're going to hit in the Eastern Conference playoffs, whether that's in the first round or whether that's in the Eastern Conference finals, is TBD, and I think it's pretty matchup dependent. But I don't think they can win a championship with the roster that they have right now. They're going to have to make an additional move in order to kind of ascend into that next tier. I think Michael Porter Jr. would be the perfect person. But again, like you look at the Knicks, you look at the Cavs, there's some matchups where it's like, I can see how this goes poorly.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I think I'm in the. I'm with you in terms of they need something else to put them over the edge, to solidify it, which is tough talking about, again, the top team in the East, and they've beat all comers. And
it's the worst conference in the history of conferences in any sport. That I'm not trying to take anything away from the Pistons, but it needs to be acknowledged. This is Eastern Conference that's about to not have Giannis potentially. Even if they do, he's on the worst roster in the league potentially. They just happen to have him. No Jason Tatum for the Celtics. They don't have a big man either other than Kata. This Cavs team is in the middle of an identity crisis. There's just not a lot of really good teams in the Eastern Conference. And then it's the Knicks, who the Pistons fans should probably feel good about because you were able to go toe-to-toe with them with almost no playoff experience last season. But again, there was reasons that the Knicks came out on top of that game. They had the matchups, and the Pistons have less shooting than they did last year because at least last year they had Beasley and Hardaway. This year they only have Duncan Robinson. There is problematic matchups with the New York Knicks, as much as I would love to just say we're sucker punching that team in the face. When you actually play a team 7 games in a row potentially, and you can kind of figure teams out. To me, right now, the Pistons feel like a team that's a little bit easy to figure out from a Pistons offense standpoint. If you're a defensive team, it's not that hard to be well, we're just going to double team Cade Cunningham. He's not going to, we are not letting that dude rack up a double-double every night. If he wants to score in isolation, go for it. But he's not doing this pick-and-roll stuff. We're blitzing him on the screens, and we're going to make all their guys hit open jump shots. We're leaving Asar Thompson wide open. It's kind of easy in my mind to start scheming against the Pistons. Now, to score on them, completely different conversation. I don't think that's – there's not a team in the Eastern Conference that I'm oh, yeah, I don't know if the Pistons can slow them down. No, they have the best defense in the league minus OKC. They need to fix the offense. And that to me is where, if they don't do that this next 2 days, I can't say with confidence they're going to come out of the East. They're a flawed team, John. They're a flawed team. So are your New York Knicks.
Well,
There's not a team in the East that's not flawed. So for that reason, it leads to a lot of, who knows what's going to happen. But even with this significant lead in the Eastern Conference. It's not like it's like, oh, Pistons versus the field. Obviously, the answer would be the field. That's kind of the way I see it right now.
All right. Got to make the move, MPJ. We'll see.
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. So how aggressive will the Pistons actually decide to be at the deadline? This to me is like the most in question thing. Like this really will define Trajan Langdon's tenure so far with the Detroit Pistons. It's been short-lived. Last year, it's not like he was ultra aggressive at the trade deadline, but he made a nice move and brought in Dennis Schroeder, who ended up being a positive contributor for the Pistons at the end of the season, post the trade deadline, and in the playoffs, like an essential part of why they were able to pick up a couple of wins versus the Knicks, whether that was because of his point of pressure defense or just because they had another ball handler, which they're lacking right now. It was a nice move, but it wasn't like they were all in, and I'm glad they didn't go all in last year. Now, there's a little bit more of a case to be made that you should be more all in than you were last year. I'm curious to see what should be available for the Pistons, because for me, it's like, hey, man, if MPJ's the top guy, assuming the Pistons are not interested in the Giannis sweepstakes, they can send him playing on one leg elsewhere. How many first-round picks are they willing to spend? Are they willing to get rid of Tobias Harris? Are they willing to get rid of Jaden Ivey? I hope the answer to the latter is absolutely yes. If you're still holding on Jaden Ivey's part of this core, come on, man. Big 2-6. We're all good on Jaden Ivey. With the Tobias thing, I think it's become a little bit more interesting because by all accounts, this is a leader on the team. This is a veteran presence. He's been a key part of the Pistons team coming together and meshing the way that they have, which is probably the biggest reason they are the one seed. Are they willing to disrupt the chemistry to move off of that? And also, it's an expiring contract at the end of the day as well. So from like a asset management standpoint, yeah, you should 100% move off of him and cash in on someone who's on a 2-year deal. Oh, look, Michael Porter Jr. So I'd be willing to put Tobias Harris on the trade block. I think Brad and Kyle both differ from this because they just think he's too important to the team. I think that's like basically malpractice to be like, you know what? We're not trading Tobias Harris. I think that's a little crazy in my eyes, but chemistry is important. If you ask Isaiah Thomas, there's a whole book written about this, the franchise. If you ask Isaiah Thomas, it's more than just the guys that are on the roster. It's about the secret of being unselfish and not really caring about your stats. That would tell you probably keep Tobias Harris. It's also a different era. You need talent to get out of the East. You need talent to win a NBA championship. Nothing against those 90s teams, but we're in an era where there's more talent in the NBA than there ever has been. And to pass on that for team chemistry could be just as detrimental and ultimately be the reason you fall short. So I'm very curious to see how aggressive Trajan Langdon gets here at the deadline.
Yeah, you mentioned in terms of the Michael Porter Jr. move, Brad and Kyle not being willing to depart with Tobias. If it means championship, like in terms of chemistry, I like Tobias at points, but if he's not providing what you say needs to be the hurdle for the Pistons to join, then what are we doing? And you talk about chemistry. That's kind of funny with Isaiah Thomas, since he didn't understand why he was left off the Olympic team, and he wrote a whole book on chemistry. That's pretty clever.
Well, he didn't write the book, but he's a key figure in the book, The Franchise.
Gotcha.
Great read. One of the best books I've ever read.
He also, what was it? Who was that by?
I'd have to go back and look. I really should know that, but
okay.
I don't.
But what was it? He was talking about Isaiah Thomas team building, by the way. My God, he set the Knicks back so many years. Anyway, so many years. But yeah, like I listen. Tobias Harris, New York guy. I like him, but Michael Porter Jr. is a different beast. And I don't think it'd be that much disruption of chemistry. And like you said, they need someone to just take the ball when Cade is going to be doubled, or defenses are throwing everything they can to stop Cade, and to just whether it's running offense, not just be an isolated, like it's Tobias Harris's play style too, that works with him being a number 2 option, and he's not really the number 2 option on this team right now.
No.
So yeah, but I get it. I get the chemistry that's been built. I get that he elevates his game in the playoffs, or at least was pretty solid against the Knicks.
No, but throughout his career, it's been the opposite. It's
really?
been like where has this guy been?
Against the Knicks, no?
I thought he was fine against the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't think
Cade really disappeared against the Knicks, and
correct.
It wasn't that Cade played bad. He just didn't have a signature game where it was like, whoa, look at Cade. Like, he didn't really have one of those moments.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks were able to just throw everything they had at him and force other guys to beat him. And thank God for Dennis Schroeder. again, the Pistons don't really have that second guy this season, which, like, it's concerning. Their defense is a lot better. The East is a lot weaker. Cade's a better player, but if he's going to be taken out of these games, like, they desperately need help. And right now, I just don't really view them as a title contender. The more and more we
Really?
No.
I'm about to say
They don't have enough help. I mean, if the Pistons were to
they're
even
still
win,
a title contender. Don't be crazy now.
If
they don't make a move, you don't think they have any shot winning the title. They're going to be the favorites.
no,
in the East.
no, I don't. They'll be the favorites in the East. I don't think they can beat any of those teams in the West, though. Like, if they want to win an NBA championship, they have to make a move here at the deadline. And I'll tell you what, if they're to go on a run, it would be one of the most, like, single-handedly, I am carrying this team through the playoffs type of performances from Cade Cunningham. Just simply because, like, there's not a ton of other guys that are creating their own baskets. There's not another guy on the team that can do that other than Tobias Harris, and he's averaging 13 points per game. No one else on the team gets buckets for themselves, John. And I'm not now I feel like I'm yelling at you.
No,
that's not what
do.
I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to vocalize my frustration because if the Pistons can't see this flaw, then it's going to cost them here in the postseason. Nobody else on the team can get their own bucket besides Cade and Tobias, who, again, 13 points per game. Most of them are low percentage shots. And Duren. I don't want to exclude Duren from this conversation because his one-on-one game from the free throw line is nice, but it's also limited. It's not like he's bringing the ball up and can work for wherever. Like, he's got to get the ball in his spots. Yeah, he's a big. That's it. Asar can get into the paint and do his turnarounds, but he's not. I mean, he's probably 10 points per game as well right now. They need another guy. To not do anything at the deadline, I think, would be pretty disastrous from Trajan Langdon to not capitalize on this situation. And that's not even me saying, well, you got to spend first-round picks, and if you don't get Michael Porter Jr., it's a total mismanagement of the situation. It's not what I'm saying. If you want to spend less, go for Malik Beasley, go for Kobe White. I'm not going to be super pissed about it, but there's a wolf waiting for you right now in Michael Porter Jr. Go get him. Go add the guy to your roster. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on YouTube, live on Facebook as well. And Dow, you know they're proudly rooted right here in Midland, making an impact all around the world. Innovations that create cleaner solutions for water, safer homes, and a more sustainable future. Company built on science but driven by people with thousands of employees who call this community home. Supporting local schools, events, nonprofits, because being a good neighbor just matters. From the lab to the Little League fields and everything in between, the places we live, work, and play, that's Dow, solving with science and standing with community. All right. It's that time. It's time to take a trip around the league. Bueller. All right, let's get rocking and rolling here. I call this around the league Super Bowl. Are you locked in? Are you locked in? Presented by Aired Insurance Group. John. My bad. I wrote down a list of a handful of names. I want you to tell me whether or not you think this person's locked in the week of the Super Bowl. And the first one, it's just like Lions fans will connect with this because I think there's still a portion of Lions fans that think Ben Johnson during the NFC divisional round against the Commanders was just like head nod into it. How about the guy that's about to be coaching in the Super Bowl who just got a head coaching job with the Raiders and now has to start thinking about assembling his coaching staff, who's going to be his quarterback? Obviously, it's going to be Mendoza, the first overall pick. But is Clint Kubiak locked in?
I'd say majority yes. The difference with a head coaching job in the NFL than college is you're not worried about the portal right now. You're not worried about, or at least there's not action that you could take right now. You could worry about the draft. You could worry about the offseason, the free agency, whether Max Crosby likes you, whether Fernando Mendoza's it, whatever. But you can't do anything about it. So you might as well just go win a Super Bowl and take that with you to the Raiders and to your introductory press conference. The point when his distraction or when his focus was elsewhere was leading up to the NFC Championship when I'm sure he was going through interviews with the Raiders and then after the fact, and it didn't seem to hinder him too much. So, yeah, he's majority locked. Are there some Raiders thoughts? Yeah, but you can go win a Super Bowl and leave. I mean, everything's easy now. You have one game, and then you know where you're going next. And you can leave it all out in the line, all out there. And you lose, it's the head coach more than the OC, right? I mean, think about it. That's what's so great about these jobs.
What if Sam Darnold just throws like 4 picks in this game?
No one's going to be like, oh, he was thinking about the Raiders.
I don't know, man. If the offense doesn't show up and they're not able to run the ball a little bit, I think people are going to start saying that. I mean, look, I get it. It's an impossible cycle to avoid, but like, you can't tell me that his mind isn't elsewhere at times. Like, I want my coaches 1,000%. Like, this is the only thing that's going on in my life. We have to win this Super Bowl. Clearly, Clint Kubiak. I mean, he interviewed for the most important job of his life. You think he wasn't prepared for that and took hours to get ready for it? Like, no, he definitely did.
If you want a coach that's putting this over everything else and has no social life, I mean, have you heard McDonald talk?
Yeah,
he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what my son ate for lunch. I don't know what grade he's in, what school he goes to.
Yeah,
does he have a girlfriend?
Crazy.
I have no clue. So that guy don't care about his family. He's put a Super Bowl over
That's
it.
who I want as my head coach, actually.
There you go. You got him. So if you're Seattle, listen, if the OC's thinking other places, I think you make up for it with your head coach being so locked, as you say.
All right, how about this one? This is a good one. A lot of criticism. People aren't super happy about it. At least there's a portion of people who are loud about that. Bad Bunny. Is Bad Bunny locked in? Does he see the criticism? Is he trying to land a couple big-time guests like Cardi B? Obviously, the Super Bowl halftime show's already planned out, but he had a big-time Grammys day this weekend, so that took his mind off the Super Bowl performance, or maybe it fueled him a little bit more. Do we think Bad Bunny's locked in and ready to respond to the criticism and even like the alternate halftime show that people are putting on?
Yeah.
I'm excited for Bad Bunny. I think he's totally locked in and is ready to prove why he's a great performer, even if he's speaking Spanish.
This is what I'll say. This is what I'll say with the whole, Bad Bunny dilemma. First off, he wins a Grammy, so that's in terms of going into your Super Bowl performance with that, and obviously he, emotional with it, and it was a cool reaction shot of him winning. This is the thing. Is it my favorite music? No. Is it not in the primary language of this country? Absolutely. But you have to realize something, folks. Bad Bunny is a vibe. He's a performer.
He's great.
The whole thing is to get you dancing and moving at your Super Bowl party. The same thing with Usher, too. And I know it's a different type of music, but the whole reason for a Super Bowl performance, it's a concert on TV. It's supposed to just get you up and going. Like, some people lose track of it. And this is where we'll have pushback, right? It depends what you like, but the artistry of the weekend of Kendrick Lamar, it doesn't serve in terms of their performance for like a, hey, get up and dance Super Bowl performance. You were, and not you specifically, but the American public, when you're watching the weekend's performance and Kendrick Lamar's, in my opinion, you're more looking at like the artistry, the visual effects, this and that.
I'd push back on the Weeknd. I think the Weeknd has great dance music. He just got dealt a bad hand with
that's fair.
the COVID.
COVID, that's fair. He had it, but his performance was like a made-for-TV, not a concert in a place.
Yes.
Bad Bunny's going to treat, at least in my opinion, like this is a concert. There's going to be people on the field and playing to that and the energy in the building. So it's a high-energy thing.
And to that NFL player who was in the unanimous survey, was like, I don't even know who Bad Bunny is. Get out from under your rock, man. He just won a Grammy.
Well, I mean, that's the conversation too with people who are like, oh, I don't want this. Yeah, either give it a try, or hey, you do have the alternative option. And if you want to watch Kid Rock, you can now watch Kid Rock.
I'm excited for Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and I think there's no way he's not. He speaks Spanish the entire time. You know what I mean?
Well,
like he's
he
bilingual,
can
but his
English.
music
he
is.
He can speak English. His music will be primarily in Spanish, but it'll be radio hits. And listen, like I forget what the name of his song is that he comes out when he was in WWE. Champea. Oh, da, da, da. Like that's just a vibe. Do I know what he's saying? No, but it's just good, upbeat music, which is what you want energy from your Super Bowl halftime. And
I think he's locked in.
Yeah, I think he is too. I mean, that's planned months in ahead, so like the locked in had to already happen.
I'm excited. Mm-hmm. I really am. How about this one? Roger Goodell. Big week for Roger Goodell. Has to answer a ton of questions. He's doing media the entire week. Yesterday has a quote that he's amazed. He's stunned at how good the officiating is. I think our audience knows this. John, you know this about me. I'm almost never a blame the officials guy. I tell myself I get one game a year across all sports to be like, that was the ref's fault. And I didn't even use it in 2025. All right, I get one of them in 2026, and I might not even use it. I'm not a blame the officials guy. Now, with that being said, every Sunday, it felt like there was like the new worst call of the season, and there were some Lions games even this year, like the touchdown. Well, who's the tight end that caught a touchdown on the 1 yard line, but he clearly didn't get into the end zone, and he clearly didn't catch the ball.
For the
Cowboys.
Rams?
Yeah.
Parkinson?
Yeah. Like that, the safety against Dallas, still don't really understand how that's not a safety. There was awful officiating this year. And Goodell's like, oh, I've never been prouder of it. Do we think Roger Goodell is locked in? Drops the big-time news yesterday, too, that we're going to do a France game for the first time. We're going to do another Mexico game. Is he locked in?
Well, he only had to be locked in for yesterday, so...
he has no more media
No, he
appearances?
has his whole big press conference where he answers questions, and the only one that really was like, oh shoot, I gotta choose my words carefully here was the Rooney Rule one, because the NFL 10 head coaching hires, only one minority hire, and it was Robert Saleh. 0 black coaches were hired. You're going to get a question about that, and he said, yeah, we have work to do, which was a sufficient enough answer to answer that question. Does it mean anything? Not really. What does that mean? Are you going to reconfigure the rule? Is it going to expand the rule? Are you going to require a team high? Like, none of that was obviously answered. So he passed the test. He answered enough. I thought of, in terms of the NFL media, Jim Trotter, who used to work for NFL Network, he'd always do a great job just asking Goodell questions that people wanted. Jim Trotter no longer works for the NFL Network. He was fired last year. So he got cupcakes. You don't have to lock in when you're getting cupcake questions like he did last night.
Okay, last one. Mm-hmm. I know you'll have strong thoughts on this. Mike Tirico. I'm not saying he ever is intentionally not locked in, but he's got Sunday night basketball to think about. He's got the Olympics to think about, too. Every sport he's got to prep for. Now he's doing a Super Bowl. Is he locked in?
I think...
Does he have too much on his plate is maybe the better question.
That's fair. I think a guy like him thrives in this spot. Hearing past interviews with guys like Buck and Nance, there's kind of like this nervous energy when you're just in the Super Bowl location for like a week and you're doing media and you're doing interviews and when do I start game prep and practice. Tirico's too busy to have time to think. If he's not doing anything NFL related, he has to be doing Olympic prep. He did the Knicks and Lakers on Sunday. Listen, I know you want to be the first Sunday night basketball, and that's going to be what you're doing. I would have told NBC, like, listen, I got the Super Bowl next week, the Olympics during that, the Olympics starting right before. I'm not going to call Knicks Lakers. That's what I like. I mean, if I'm in that shoe, I would have done anything. I'd love to do all those jobs. But like the fact that he did that surprised me a lot because it's a regular season basketball game. Like, let's be honest, folks. But he was locked in. I'm interested to see. I already have an article from Front Office Sports that's basically favored. I haven't got around to reading it, which is like a Super Bowl media preview. Tirico was profiled in The Athletic too. Yeah, I think he's locked. I think he is. And I'd have to go back. I think this is his only, second Super Bowl, I believe? Because remember, ESPN, ABC never had one when he was the voice of Monday Night Football. So I think he's only done one since replacing Al Michaels. So I'd have to go back. But, yeah, I think locked is no question. But it is crazy that, he's going to have to do the Olympics along with the Super Bowl and then NBA coverage on top of that. He's one of the best in the biz, though, if not the best.
Okay, last person I have, Stephon Diggs. Is he locked in? He's got this whole Cardi B situation going on. Is she going to be in the halftime show? Who knows? He's doing Grammy stuff.
Oh, when you said situation, I thought it was the situation of the domestic violence
that too.
That they pushed back so generously so he could play in this game and then go to court after the fact. But yeah, I mean, he should be locked in. It's the Super Bowl. This is the guy. Stephon Diggs is the guy who stares as the confetti falls after his team loses. He did it in Buffalo. He did it in Minnesota. You really think he wants to do that again?
No.
I don't think so.
989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show, live right here on YouTube and 100.9 The Mid. You can see our bright smiles. See? They start at Scott Family Dental, where comfort care and clean teeth come at a standard. Locally owned by Brandon Scott, a native of the Great Lakes Bay region, the business is family-focused. They treat patients of all ages like one of their own. From routine checkups to whitenings, crowns, and more, they've got the tools and the gentle touch to keep your smile shining. Friendly staff, modern tech, zero judgment, even if it's been a while since your last visit. So go ahead and show off those pearly whites because Scott Family Dental has your back and your teeth. Welcome back in. We're live. Right here in one of the suites in Dow Diamond as our studio is being renovated. You might be able to hear them if I knock on the wall. Yeah, we're excited for the new studio next week. We'll post some pictures of that later today. Did you think the Michigan State game was dirty by any means? Because I thought there were some plays that were borderline, and I guess if there's enough borderline dirty plays, maybe it adds up to the game being dirty. But I never thought there was like one specific play that went over the edge by any means. There was the Jeremy Fears wind up, hit Yaxel in transition. There was certainly a wind up there. Didn't end up being called a flagrant foul. Or did it? No, I think it did end up being called a flagrant foul. There was the Will Cheddar jumping sideways into someone trying to close out in a shot. I thought that was not dirty, but just kind of, I just thought it was kind of bogus. And then you have a ton of Jeremy Fears stopping and then doing the stuff where he gets ran into, as John calls it, the Jalen Brunson. But never once did I think this game was dirty. Yet Tom Izzo, Michigan State, and Dusty May for Michigan both kind of throwing some darts to the other campus, trying to get the team to bite on it, both kind of calling the other team dirty a little bit yesterday at the press conferences, which I think is just gasoline on the fire that has been poured into this rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it. I'm glad. I'm glad that they're trying to fan the flames a bit, right? Fuel it, because that's how rivalries are built, or reignited, I guess, right? I mean, Michigan State will always have the rivalry, always have the physicality, but how do you build it in a college game that maybe not for Michigan State because of the old school philosophy, but for Michigan is guys coming in and out the door via the transfer portal. A game that's physical right away, which you're going to get. And then after the fact, when the players are telling, hey, coach, I feel like this happened, that happened, your coach is defending you in the media. And how they did that is going to ruffle the other feathers of Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo feels, I'm sure, that the he knows the physicality better than anyone of this rivalry. How many games against Michigan State has he coached? And Dusty May's just finished coaching his third, but also had the tools, the guys, and the game plan to beat Michigan State in what was a attempt with all new guys. But yeah, I love it. I mean, we talked about it when we talked about it in the 9 o'clock hour. Whether it's Mike Hart and the little brother stuff, the media and players through the media, whether it's on their own accounts, through social media, traditional media, us, what have you. That's how the rivalry builds. You only get 2 of these guaranteed during a season on the floor, but the rivalry can be built, linger through the off season, during the season, with comments, with stuff like that. And there was obviously a Michigan domination, right, in that first game, but I'm sure unfinished business for Michigan State, who maybe went in there thinking maybe not thinking they were going to coast by, but seeing how it went last year and a new transfer group and feeling, hey, they got more skill, but what they don't have is the physicality that we have, that we displayed last year. And, no, Michigan had that too, and Michigan didn't just have enough. They had a 12-point victory in your house. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to build. And from the coaching perspective, I mean, think about this too. You talk about how a game's officiated, dirty plays. Both of these guys are trying to prove their methods too, right? Izzo's the last bastion of this old school philosophy. A lot of his contemporaries have either retired or been fired in terms of by other college basketball programs. And Dusty May's the guy who built FAU out of nothing. And now with Michigan wants to take them to championship status yet again, and has done so with a flip of a switch there. And both, I'm sure, don't want to be beat by the guy who's doing the opposite way of building a college basketball program. So you have that on top of it too. In terms of actually the game being dirty, there were some physical plays, there was some pushing and shoving after the whistle from time to time, but nothing egregious. But you got to defend your guys as a coach. You just got to.
Yeah. No, I think that's kind of what it comes down to. It adds some fuel for the next game. Michigan State's got their hands full this week with a matchup against Illinois. You want to hear a crazy stat? Michigan State has lost 10 straight games versus top 5 opponents. Not good. And it kind of speaks to what we were talking about yesterday of they're just kind of a Sweet 16 team. They're in that second tier most years where it's yeah, you're a really awesome team that can beat most teams in the country, but there's a selective handful of teams that you're just not going to beat because you limit yourself every season, whether that's because you won't address dire needs in the portal or your guys haven't developed the jump shot that you necessarily want because you're too busy focused on defensive rebounding drills. whatever the case may be, there's just always seems to be a handful of teams that Michigan State can't really beat. Hopefully they can end that streak on Saturday against Illinois. They'll be in action against Minnesota tomorrow before then. Hey, Great Lakes Spine and Medical. Man, do I need to go to this place right now. My back's been hurting as of late. I think I sat on it weird, whether it's in this chair, driving back to GR. I don't know if it was in my sleep, but it's been hurting late, and I feel like Great Lakes Spine and Medical is the perfect place to go. If you're dealing with back pain or joint pain, you can't just live with that kind of stuff. You know, that's going to disrupt your entire life. Great Lakes Spine and Medical helps you really relieve the pain by treating the root of the problem, not just the symptoms. Quick, non-invasive care that gets you moving better and feeling stronger. Book today and get your appointment with Great Lakes Spine and Medical. Stop letting the pain slow you down. Welcome back in. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Minute, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. So for those who missed the open of the show today, I have some unfortunate news for you. You might have to pay an extra 100 bones to watch the Tigers this season because they are separating themselves from FanDuel Sports Network. They are partnering up with the MLB media, and they're just going to distribute their own games through the MLB. Okay, I don't think any of us are huge FanDuel Sports Network fans, but here's where we're at as a consumer, and John can get into all the nitty-gritty detail stuff, but as a consumer, the Pistons and Wings are over here, the Lions are way up here, and now the Tigers are down here, and you potentially have to pay for 3 different things just to watch the teams in Detroit, and that doesn't even include paying for Amazon Prime for when the Lions play on Thursday Night Football and when the Pistons are on Prime, which is this Friday. That doesn't include paying for Peacock, which the Pistons have played on a handful of times on Mondays and Tuesdays here on during the season. There's so much going on with all these different places that games are. Even the Tigers, like you pay $100 for this. Okay, do you get to watch the Apple TV game? Nope. Do you get to watch the Sunday Night Baseball game? If you pay for some sort of cable package or YouTube TV maybe, it's become such a mess. And I'm just viewing it from the consumer standpoint. This is really hard to figure out, you know? Like if you've got parents or grandparents who are trying to figure out how to watch the Tigers next year, good luck trying to set them up with this. Not only is this confusing, it's become expensive. I was willing to live with it for a while because, you know, it's the streaming world. You got to get up to date, modern times, this and that. Now it's like, come on, man. How can the Tigers be one place and the Pistons be another place? And you got to pay $100 to watch both of them separately. Like, what is going on and how do we fix this? Is my big question right now. And right now, like, I don't really know what the answer to that is, to be quite frank.
Yeah, we're at the point of no return. Again, it's never going to come back to simplicity. The one thing that would be nice with this is that it is rumor in terms of when MLB media takes, you know, control of the production and how it's distributed, that it might be distributed to local TV in Detroit. What does that mean for people in our region, the Great Lakes Bay region? I don't know. There might not be a TV option besides streaming.
Or Grand Rapids.
Or wherever you want. Maybe locally in Detroit and maybe locally up here it'll be, you know, extended up. That would be nice, but how can you trust that when the Tigers haven't been on top of this? And that's where you'll start. Teams have stake in the networks that they own across baseball. It exists that way in New York. It exists that way out in California with the Dodgers. And it's not just a big market thing either. One of the teams that is affected by this Main Street Sports Group bankruptcy are the Atlanta Braves. So what are the Braves doing? You know what? We kept going from Fox to Bally to FanDuel and all these different ownership groups. We're just going to do it ourselves. And the Braves are going to pump money into having a Braves TV network. You know, and obviously there's money in media in Atlanta, right? CNN and Ted Turner and whatever. But that's what they're doing. The Tigers multiple times could have gotten out ahead of it and didn't. Is 100% of the blame on them? Not necessarily. I think a good portion of it is. Obviously, I don't think these networks, when it was the acquisition for Disney, acquiring Fox and Fox Sports and a lot of different entities that 21st Century Fox owned, they were forced by the courts to relinquish the regional sports networks. And it went to the highest bidder, which at the time was Sinclair Broadcast Group, and then it kept going to different hands because it wasn't a money-making proposition. That's a problem. Should it have maybe stayed with Disney and things would have been simpler for the consumer? Absolutely.
Yes, I think the answer is just yes. I don't really care about the monopoly standpoint of it. Mm-hmm. From a consumer, like I'm glad you're here to discuss that side of things. I am, at the end of the day, just want to watch my teams.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other people, I just want to watch my teams. And now that they're going to be in 4 or 5 different places between the 4 teams, and then I guess the Lions are just kind of their own entity. But like,
well, look,
how many different streaming services do you need to just watch the NFL now?
Yeah,
3.
The networks are always, and these leagues, because the leagues don't care. The leagues are trying to. The league's goal right now, all 4 of them. This isn't just baseball. they're like, how much media can we extract and put in different places to different bidders? Whether that's the NFL and Red Zone, national games, even NFL Films properties. That's how the leagues are leveraging money right now. And do they care about us and how much we have to spend for it? Of course not, because if we like the league, then we will. That's what it is for the NFL. Why it hurts baseball so much is because baseball, and this is said as a positive, it's said as a negative a lot when we talk about media, but it's a regional sport. And to have a regional sport, you need to have a regional sports network that carries your games to that region. And baseball is different than any other sport. It's not 82 like basketball and hockey, and it's not 17 like football. It's a day in, day out grind, which should help baseball because it's always there for you. But not if it's not on a regional sports network and attached with local media. That's what's needed. That's part of the revenue and profit for baseball, the fact that, yeah, it's local. You can get it local. You don't have a home for the Lions, right? You don't know. The Lions season next year, you have 17 games. They could all be on Amazon Prime. We don't know. There's obviously media contracts in place that will say, all right, Fox, CBS, NBC, whatever. But the way the NFL is going with media deals, you won't know in 5 to 10 years. The one constant should be your regional sports network for baseball because that's what is needed with that big of a slate. It's just been completely crapped on now. And the worst thing, too, even when it was working with, a FanDuel Sports Network, the streaming, the app, it isn't good. So not only now you're having MLB have to take over, you hope that the streaming works, too, and there isn't weird blackout restrictions because it's supposed to be on local TV. But, yeah, it's just a mismanagement from the top to the bottom with this. And all it does is screw over you because the leagues – they're trying to put their media in as many different places as possible, and they don't care. But at least what should be a backbone of sports when we're looking at the 4 major ones, all right, I can watch my baseball team on local channel 4 or 2 or 12, whatever the heck. That not existing, it's going to hurt the game of baseball. It is. The NFL could bend us over a barrel. You want us on ESPN Plus, Amazon Prime. We'll get whatever streaming service we can because it's 17 games. With baseball, no, there's already enough games on different networks too. You pay for the season rate. It's not just a one-off. It's supposed to be there, day in, day out for you, and you already pay for cable. And I hope for the people that do have cable, because you talk about the grandparents and the parents and the uncles and the older, the yunks of the world, hopefully it is distributed on some local TV. Who knows what channel that will be, but hopefully some local television channel, at least within Detroit, right? At least within the market you play in if you're the Tigers.
That doesn't help the fans up here. That doesn't help the Grand Rapids market, the Lansing market, anyone in the UP. It's just, again, I feel like if Disney would have just had control of this from the beginning, it would have been completely fine. We could have been watching Tigers games and Tigers and Pistons and Wings games on Disney Plus, and it would have been fantastic. And you would have maybe had your chance to just watch anything on Disney Plus, like any NBA. I don't know. It's pretty unfortunate what's happened here. It's in 100 different places now. The Cardinals went through something very similar last season, and it was $100 for the whole year to watch the Cardinals. It's like $150 year-round to have FanDuel Sports Network. They better knock that price down. If if 1/3 of their products, which when you really think about it, it's half their products, 160 games, and then you look at the NBA and NHL seasons, those added up would be the equivalent of an MLB season. Their price should be knocked in half. It's $150 right now for the year. Why on earth would it not be $75? Like if it's anything more than $100, what is the point of having it? What's the point of paying for it in the summer if you're not going to get the Tigers games on there? There is none.
No, and the last thing I'll add, Ben, too, it's my opinion with a lot of stuff when you don't like something, like don't consume it. Like the only example that we have over the last couple of years, the ESPN or the NFL, I should say, with ESPN, put a game on ESPN Plus, like a doubleheader of Monday Night Football, and no one watched it because ESPN Plus wasn't as popular. I don't even know the numbers still with it, but this was pre-Hulu and Disney Plus, I think, but they put a game on ESPN Plus and no one watched it. The only thing that stops this is not watching it. Like that's the only thing that stops things that you don't like in terms of how sports are distributed, but we won't do it.
Well, when baseball ratings are down dramatically this season, I almost combined dramatically and drastically. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they'll make the change and realize that you're just screwing over your product, and that's the most important. Not a great look heading into a lockout
No.
season next October, more than likely.
But that's the only way things change. And again, with the last point with the NFL too, it could have been stopped with, we're not ready for Amazon Prime, we're not ready for NBC, but they're reacting to how people consume things, and we're streaming things to save money because that was originally what it was, and then the companies were like, wait a minute, okay, now everyone's streaming, let's make this the same amount as cable. Because if you add up everything that you have, if you're just a streaming-only person but a sports fan, which I'm figuring, if you're listening or watching this, you are, it's probably similar, if not more, than your cable bill would be. So we're just back at square one anyway.
Life happens fast, and at Yater Insurance Group, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yater is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people that you can actually talk to. That's Yater Insurance Group. They'll be there when you need them since 1940. Detroit Pistons, 1 game away from the deadline, and then they play again the day of the deadline. Denver Nuggets in action tonight in town. I can't wait for this game to see Nikola Jokic play the Pistons, which we only get to see in LCA once a year. All these West Coast teams, all the superstars are out there, and they only come to Detroit once a year. Obviously, I hope they win. If they lose, John, I hope they score 60 points. And it's like, oh, my God, they couldn't score at all tonight. 60 is aggressive. The new 60 is like I don't know. Like if you were to score 90 in today's NBA just because of the number of possessions that are had, there's this myth that, oh, nobody plays defense anymore. You know, if I ever hear a grown man say, oh, nobody plays defense anymore, you know what that tells me about them? They don't know anything about anything, like Amon-Ra said.
Wow.
There's not less defense. There's more possessions.
Okay, but why are there more possessions?
Because it's a faster pace of play game. People are in a hurry to get down the floor. It is played at a faster speed. There are more three-pointers being put up early on in the shot clock. It's much harder to play defense.
It's almost
in today's
easier
NBA.
to defend, though, if you have to just shoot threes and don't have to defend the whole length of the court, right? Because guys are just going to play in the perimeter.
No, because you have to have the ability to go from the perimeter into the paint and switch, and you're doing all this movement. The help defense today, like it's just so much strain on your body. The defense is better nowadays. It's just there's more possessions in a single game. That's why there's more points being scored, and also obviously the abundance of three-point shots that are being put up now. It's just a smarter game. Baseball was the first analytical sport where the stats maybe went a little bit too far. Then it was football. Now basketball's entering that territory too, where we're just like almost are forgetting everything we know, and now we just are smarter with what's the efficient way to play offense in today's NBA. So, anyway, I say all that to say, if you score 90 points in today's NBA, that's the equivalent of scoring 70 points, 60 points in 2004. I hope if the Pistons lose today, I obviously hope they win. If they lose today, I hope they score 90 points and get blown out, and it's an awakening before the deadline happens of, okay, we're lacking offense here. That's not the worst thing that could happen, especially against a Western Conference team that can't climb towards you in the standings here tonight.
Yeah, I what was it? I not that you root for a bad performance, but like, listen, I would say this. I mean, the regardless of what happens tonight, the Trajan Langdon's got to be aware of what this team needs at the deadline and go out and get it. But it will be a nice test because it's Nikola back from injury. Missed 16 games. I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah.
But yeah, 16-game absence for him. And this is a team that's, you might see if you make it to the finals. 3 seed right now in the West. I know the Thunder are these, world beaters, but man, Jokic is something else in the postseason. You don't believe in Denver?
No. I'm saying I don't like the Thunder aren't something else like this world beater team anymore. I think Denver
to that point. Okay.
Denver would be my pick in the West right now.
Really? So there you go. So I mean that's the importance of this game. Screw the trade deadline, just see how you stack up. But then also, all right, if you don't, I mean, there's not a clearer indicator, right? It's not like you get the Nets 3 times before the deadline. You get a team that's actually worth a damn, and that's the Denver Nuggets. And how you play versus them should be an indicator for you. But even if it's a great performance tonight, there's still, again, getting Michael Porter Jr. should be top priority, and moving pieces to get that, because that's going to put you over the top, whether it be Denver, whether it be the Eastern Conference. I mean, this is the time, we talk about striking while the iron's hot, talk about the deadlines that Detroit sports teams have had over the last couple of years and not being satisfied. This is a chance to satisfy it. And there's not all these different options to weigh and who will fall to us and whatever. There's one, right? Because you're not really in the honest sweepstakes and who knows with James Harden, right? It's Michael Porter Jr. and go get him. I mean, it's as simple as that. And we'll see if the Pistons do, though. Because, again, I hear it from you. I hear it from Brad, Tunney. I hear it from Kyle Sandel. I don't hear it from national reporters. I don't hear it from Trajan Langdon in terms of Pistons at the deadline stuff. I get blogs. I get rumors, but nothing from, top of the line or from the org in terms of reporting on this.
Hey, Midland, I need you to get ready.
Uh-oh.
Dow Tennis Classic is coming to town. It returns February 15th. It's here all the way through the 22nd at the Greater Midland Tennis Center. This year's field features 3 different top 100 players. Former U.S. Open champion Bianca Andreescu.
Yeah, she's good too. Canadian. I've heard of her. She's like number 4 in the world, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll look that up while you're talking.
Past Dow champions like Katie McNally. It's Michigan's biggest pro tennis tournament all year long. You're not going to want to miss it. Tickets are on sale now at dowtennisclassic.com. Do not miss it. We'll be right back here on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt. All right, welcome back in. It is that time. It is 11:30. John Vicari, give me a thumbs up when you are ready to go because it's time for the second rendition of one of the things we always do on this show, and that is the mid-morning catch.
I'll turn my mic on now. All right, Benny Bosch, what's up? Mid-morning catch time. Listen, I'm just not going to do this cleanly. I only have one more day of this. It's just not conducive to a quality open. But we have some news. Let's start with breaking stuff that we've learned through the course of since we've been on air. We'll start with Olympic news if that tickles your fancy. Lindsey Vonn, ruptured Achilles, a ruptured ACL, but the alpine skier plans on competing. She had a press conference about an hour ago, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try." Obviously, it's not what she wanted. Obviously, it was a crash, and she sustained the injury. But she's gonna wear a knee brace, and she's gonna compete in the Olympics in Milano Cortina.
I'm horrified to go skiing now. I'm supposed to go. I'm supposed to go snowboarding this weekend for the first time in over a decade.
Look at you.
This is like horrifying me now. I'm just increasingly getting more and more nervous about tearing my ACL or rupturing ACL, whatever the verbiage was. I don't know how she's going to go get out there on one ACL and still compete. I mean, if she medals, that's going to be one of the best stories of the Olympics.
100%.
Not even just from an American standpoint, but just 41 years old on one ACL and you medal. Insane.
Yeah.
Insanity. Is that a timed sport?
The alpine skiing, I'd have to look that up. I think so, right? It's
think
getting
so.
down the mountain as quick as you can.
Yeah. Which, no thanks.
Yes.
I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do the snake thing. You go back and forth. Yeah.
The snake thing?
I'm a
Yeah,
little nervous. This is making me a little bit more nervous.
Are you snowboarding or skiing?
Snowboarding.
So
I'm less worried about tearing
because
my ACL.
your legs are tied in there, right, with the snowboard?
I'm more worried about face planting and
Yeah.
concussing myself and being out from the show for 10 days.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
doing
something?
it Super Bowl weekend, by the way, too. So you're going to be out of town for the big game?
No, I'll be. It's day trip.
Oh, day trip.
Efficiency.
A Saturday day trip. See, for me, a skiing snowboard trip, it's less the skiing and snowboarding. It's more sitting in a lodge and drinking hot chocolate,
Well,
looking at people out a window.
chances to do that as well later
Yeah.
on. But this is just for the skiing, just one day. What are you supposed to do the day before a Super Bowl? You're going to drive yourself crazy if you just wait around and make bets all day. How many bets are you going to end up making? I'd rather just
chill, huh?
go do something. Take your mind off the big game.
All right. Speaking of the big game, last night was NFL Media Day, and we don't have audio because that's too complicated for me with this setup. But I could tell you about some quotes, and one that I knew would maybe get under Ben's skin, so that's why I'm relaying it to the people. His guy, Drake May, who he idolized his game after, according to
Cam
someone
Newton?
asking him? No. Have another guess?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers idolized his game. So you still a big Drake May guy if he's, basically, 2.0 of a guy you don't like?
No,
I guess
that's
he's gotta
not
come
even
the
really
NFC
who
North,
he plays
right?
like, though. He doesn't really play like Aaron Rodgers.
Who does he play like?
Josh Allen. He's not as big.
I wouldn't say Josh Allen.
Who?
Josh Allen be running.
How about this? Elway. Plays a little bit like Elway.
Okay.
He makes every throw, has a beautiful deep ball, uses his feet when he needs to. I see some Elway in him. Not that I watched Elway live, but
No. Hey, NFL films, That's
that's right.
good.
Historian of the game.
Other NFL news, that was today, Robert Kraft. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not going to be in the first ballot. Him and Bill Belichick. They're in that contributors section of it, right? Coaches and, in the case of Kraft, an owner, but both did not receive the requisite votes. Belichick, he might have been punished for his gates, his spy gate, his deflate gate, his dating a 25-year-old gate. But Kraft, is it because he went down to Florida and got some inappropriate things?
Okay.
Is it what we all think it is? Sore losers that are keeping him out first ballot. So there you go. Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick not in. It'll be unique to see, and the Hall of Fame class will be unveiled on Thursday. The NFL Honors Award show is that night, and we'll see what's happening in terms of other guys. Because players on that committee to be voted in, Roger Craig, Ken Anderson, L.C. Greenwood, we'll see if they get in too. But yeah, the Hall keeping Kraft and Belichick out will not be first ballot Hall of Famers.
It's unfortunate. I'm not going to sit here and pound my fist that they should be. Obviously, it should be. It goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a zag to say they shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I wish I had a better zag, but I don't. I think they should be in the Hall of Fame. Simple as that. Won 6 Super Bowls.
Doesn't have a better zag. We talked about it in terms of when talking about the Pistons, but NBA trade news is that James Harden, according to Shams Charania, maybe dealt, from his team in terms of the Clippers. The Cavs are the most interested in terms of his reporting, and that would be a big deadline move. I think, and usually I kind of crap on the NBA trade deadline over the last couple of years, a deadline with Antetokounmpo, Harden potentially moving, and then, of course, whatever the Pistons do, if it's MPJ, Monk, or what have you, it's going to be a big one. I really feel there's going to be some moves made.
Well, there's only 2 more days left to do anything.
Yeah.
Usually,
you have some tea leaves right now?
Yeah, usually you kind of know, one of the moves that's going to be made. But, even the Giannis stuff, it seems like who knows if this is going to happen or if the Bucks are just going to be like, nah, we'd rather just do this in the offseason when we feel like we can get all 30 teams to kind of chase this rather than the selective few. Right now it's the Warriors, it's the Timberwolves, it's the Knicks are still in there as well. But it sounded like the Warriors and the Timberwolves were the teams that got pretty aggressive there towards the end. I'd be really curious to see him and Anthony Edwards together, especially if they can find a way to keep Gobert there too, to where all of a sudden you have Gobert and Giannis as your 4-5, and then you've got Ant to get buckets as well. Yeah, I would love that.
We'll see. We'll see. Again, NBA trade deadline is Thursday at 5 p.m. In terms of NBA action tonight, Pistons and the Nuggets tonight. It's going to be a good one. 3 seed in the West. Of course, the best team, the Beast of the East. And it's a tip at 7 p.m. at LCA. And I don't
know why the Pistons are favored, to be quite honest.
Really? Oh, so maybe the lock of the day is going against them? We'll have to see.
I'm not going to do that.
I
just think Jokic as an underdog is not something that should be happening on a frequent basis.
He is just coming back from injury, right? Only his, second game?
Second game back, yeah. Maybe third. I think it is his third because he played Sunday night as well against OKC.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But 7 p.m. tip at LCA, and it will be on 100.9 The Mid tonight. So there you go. In terms of last night, Red Wings took care of the Avalanche, worth mentioning, a 2-0 win. John Gibson, a shutout victory for him, his 4th of the season. Dylan Larkin with 2 points, both assists, and it's not quite the farewell before he goes to the Olympics. The Red Wings will have a game coming up, but second to last, and a needed win for them to snap a 3-game skid. And then a final story, and it's because we've had a lot of toilet talk around the office here at 100.9 The Mid the last couple of days. The White Sox, they actually made a big international signing this offseason. Murakami, I don't know, I'm not going to not say his first name correctly because I just don't know it, but Murakami is the player that the Chicago White Sox acquired, and his first, the introductory press conference, his first kind of tour, lay of the land out in Chicago, he noticed these toilets, they don't have a bidet. What are we doing?
Where's he from?
He's from Japan.
Oh.
So I need a bidet. And White Sox GM Chris Getz said, we'll do that. We won't spend on other players, but we get you a bidet in the clubhouse. Does this help the over-under for the White Sox and / in terms of the question, should the Loons get bidets? Should the Mitt get bidets? Should there be bidets installed at Dow Diamond is really the question I'm trying to ask.
The hygienic thing to do. Like it's better for your health.
Is that really? I thought it was just, more efficient.
No, I think it genuinely is better for your health, but there's a mental barrier with me with the bidets. I don't.
What's the mental barrier here?
I don't know if I like the water jetting into my butt. I don't know if I like it.
Have you tried it?
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I'm not sure if I have.
You don't know if water's been shot up your butt?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm good on the bidets. So
I think you need to try them.
Maybe have you tried a bidet?
Yeah, they're awesome.
Is the water cold?
It was like room temp.
Yeah, I might be out. I don't.
You want hot water?
About this anymore? No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I like this. This is not the type of radio show I want to be doing.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. We made Ben uncomfortable because that was the Mid-Morning Catch.
All right. That's going to almost do it for us. We've got 2 traditions to close out every show. We'll get to those when we come back. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. You can see us right here live on YouTube, and you can see a whole lot better with Mid-Modern Eye Care and Dry Eye Clinic. Hey, Michigan, do your eyes feel dry, itchy, irritated all day? Well, that is not normal. And Mid-Modern Eye Care and Dry Eye Clinic specializes in dry eye treatment that actually works. If your eyes burn, water, or feel tired from screens, they can help you get long-lasting relief. From advanced dry eye care exams, glasses, and contacts, they've got you covered. Stop dealing with the discomfort and start seeing comfortably again. See better, feel better with Mid-Modern Eye Care and Dry Eye Clinic next to Kroger in Midland. We've got our two traditions to close out every single show. The first of those is our lock of the day. For our lock of the day, we did hit yesterday with the Charlotte Hornets winning by 7. We needed them to win by 7 exactly, or at least more than 6. And that's what they pulled off.
6.5.
6.5, yeah. So they won by 7. Huge win for us. Started the week 1-0, right?
Heck yeah, you did. Overall, I mean, 12-10 now in terms of 2026, and you had 3 winning weeks of the 4 in January, and a nice start to February. And I tailed, so I helped Kyle out in that category, even though he wasn't on the show. So
perfect.
I'll be Kyle for the next 3 days, and I tailed, and we'll see if we tail this one though.
He's not here again tomorrow?
No, dude. He was trying to get a flight out of, I guess, Boston is where they're flying because he's in Amherst for UMass Central Michigan tonight. It's Wednesday morning. They couldn't get a Tuesday night flight, so he's going to be flying out tomorrow morning.
Okay. John, I'm drawing a blank. What was my lock of the day that I told you before?
The Thunder minus 7.
That's right. The Thunder minus 7 tonight. They're going up. Remind me who they're going against.
Wow, this guy is locked. We did an around the league earlier in terms of locked in terms of who's locked for against. I don't know either, dude. I got to find it on my phone. You think I know the NBA schedule?
Don't you have a graphic to put up?
I just did Thunder minus 7. I didn't do the opponent. I figured you would give the people, that info. Let's see. The Thunder are playing the Orlando Magic.
That's right, and it's in OKC. I think
he's bet against Paolo Banchero, folks. Come on.
I just think the Orlando, they're a defensive-oriented team. They're without their best offensive player in Franz Wagner. For them to go to OKC on the road and have to play against the number 1 defense in the NBA, the only defense that's better than the Pistons, I just don't think they're going to be able to score a lot. So it's not going to take the Thunder scoring this massive amount of points to have to cover that 7.5 spread. I just think Orlando gets shut down offensively. So I've got Orlando, the Thunder minus 7 against Orlando today for my lock of the day. Taylor Fade.
Well, Ben is obviously so locked in on this that he knew the spread. He also knew the opponent without any assistance. No, I'll tell you again, buddy. Why not? I don't know the NBA. You do, and I'll ride. And it's defending NBA champions, right?
Yeah.
So
they're due to blow somebody out.
Sure.
Let's do our next tradition. That's Guessing Collins Open. I went first yesterday. You went first yesterday. I don't really remember.
You let me go first yesterday.
Okay, I'll go first today.
You were a nice guest. Or a nice host. Wow, I'm gonna go
Super Bowl. But I feel like that's too broad.
Sure.
So I will go. Sam Darnold has Sam Darnold redemption arc storyline. That's my pick.
Sure, that was my pick yesterday. I don't know what he opened with yesterday, to be honest, because we don't keep track of it when Kyle's not here, to be honest. Why would I lie, right? I'm telling you, I'm being honest. I'll go with this. James Harden's a baby.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
He's a loser. He's a baby. That's it. That'll be his opinion. James Harden's not a winner. He'll go somewhere and not win there, too.
Fair enough.
The duration of his career.
All right.
That's it. That's Colin, not me. I didn't say that.
No, Colin. I think you think that, though. All right, that's going to do it for us today. That's the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll be back in the new studio on Monday. We'll be back live on YouTube and Facebook tomorrow. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook by searching either Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt or just The Mitt, 100.9 The Mitt, the Ben Bosscher Show on TikTok. A lot of great stuff headed your way soon.